Nation's Restaurant News is launching the 2025 Menu Masters collaboration video series, and this season is our most exciting yet. Join us behind the scenes as the 2025 Menu Masters award-winning chefs from Chili's Grill and Bar, Wendy's, True Food Kitchen, Fuzzy's Taco Shop, Iron Hill Brewery and Restaurant, and digital innovator Alexandra Lourdes team up with top students from Johnson & Wales University for a live culinary collaboration. Their goal is to create a unique menu to be served only at the Menu Masters celebration, sponsored by Ventura Foods on May 17th in Chicago. Make sure you subscribe now to the Menu Masters YouTube channel and don't miss an episode. For more info on the Menu Masters celebration, visit menumasters.com. Hey there, welcome to Takeaway with Sam Oches, a podcast from Nation's Restaurant News. I am Sam Oches, editor-in-chief here at NRN, and this is the show where I give you an all-access pass to the restaurant industry's most influential decision makers. This week, I'm talking with Dan DiZio, the co-founder and CEO of Philly Pretzel Factory. It's a Philadelphia-based snack concept with more than 170 locations, primarily in the East Coast. Philly Pretzel Factory has achieved broad appeal with its paperclip-shaped pretzels and its wide variety of dips. And it's especially found success with its party trays, which have been hugely impactful in getting the word out about the brand at parties, sporting activities, meetings, and more. Dan has been in the pretzel business since he was in middle school. Seriously. He's had a fascinating entrepreneurial journey over the course of more than 4 decades. And he joined the podcast to talk about how Philly Pretzel Factory has essentially become a wholesale provider with its bulk pretzel orders, why that strategy has been such successful grassroots marketing for the brand. In this interview, you will learn more about why you should never doubt your entrepreneurial instincts, why there's no better marketing than free food, and why franchisees today want operational simplicity. As always, be sure to subscribe to Takeaway on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also leave your feedback on those platforms. A little bit of love goes a long way in getting this show to more listeners. You can also now follow me on TikTok, where I will be sharing special insights from this show, but also other exclusive content, including behind-the-scenes looks at my industry travels and experiences. Go follow me at Takeaway Sam. That is at Takeaway Sam. Jumping now into my interview with Philly Pretzel Factory co-founder Dan DiZio. Also, don't forget to stick around after the interview as I will share my 5 takeaways from this discussion, actionable insights that you can take with you on the go. Okay, I'm sitting down with Dan DiZio, the co-founder and CEO of Philly Pretzel Factory. Dan, thanks for joining me today.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
All right, Dan, for those who are uninitiated, those who don't know Philly Pretzel Factory, tell us a little bit about this brand, where it comes from.
Yeah, so where the brand started, originated, goes way back, actually. I got into business when I was 11 years old. My next door neighbor owned a pretzel bakery. And one day, this is 43 years ago, he got stuck with 1,000 pretzels. Somebody canceled an order. And the origins of Philly Pretzels was there was about 10 pretzel bakeries in Philadelphia. And they all went to work 4 a.m. They twisted bagel or pretzels, and then they would close up usually at 9 o'clock, kind of like a bagel shop would be. And they would deliver to schools and hospitals, and that was sort of it. And nobody changed what they were doing. This one day, he got stuck with 1,000 pretzels. Somebody canceled, and he never got the message. So he saw me out back, said, "Hey, what are you doing today?" And I said, "No plans." And he said, "Well, how about I set you up on the street corner to sell these pretzels because I'm going to throw them in the trash. And whatever you sell, we'll just split it 50-50. I was like, yeah, it worked for me. And he goes, "First, I have to ask your mom if it's okay." And for some reason, my mom said it would be okay to stay on Roosevelt Boulevard and Ron Street. I know a lot of people aren't from Philadelphia, but it's one of the most dangerous intersections in the city. I sold them 1,000 pretzels back then. It was 5 for $1.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought in $200. I got 100. He got 100. And my allowance was $3 a week, just to put it in perspective. So this was 9 months worth of allowance in one day. So I was hooked, and I asked him, "Can we do it again tomorrow?" He said, "Yeah, I'll bake up some extras. I'll bring them home, set you up again." And within a couple of weeks, I was walking around my middle school with wads of $1 bills, and everybody wanted a job selling pretzels. So my job was starting to organize all these guys, 45, 50 kids a day, to stand on various corners. Did so well. By the time I got to 9th grade, I decided to take a leave of absence from school without my parents' knowledge.
Wow.
They almost made it through the entire year. I was faking my report cards. And in May, a guy knocked at the door at dinner time, and there were two sheriffs there to arrest my mom. What they thought had happened, my dad had died previously, and they thought my mom was forcing me to sell pretzels to support the family. She had no idea. She thought I was just doing it on the weekends, maybe after school here and there. But long story short, they were going to put me in a home in Hershey, Pennsylvania. She begged them not to. Right at that point, she met my stepdad, who was a real strict FBI agent, who made it very simple. You don't get good grades, you don't sell pretzels. So I look at that as my sabbatical year. I redid ninth grade, kept selling pretzels through high school, college, graduated, became an investment advisor, and just really didn't like the idea of being in a cubicle. It wasn't my thing. Liked being out talking to people, and decided to open up one pretzel bakery. That was the goal. And opened up one on Frankfurt Avenue. And what I did differently, I was going to do what those other guys did, go at 4 a.m, close at 9. But the first day when we opened, we were on a retail street, and the line at 9 o'clock when we were technically going to close was 45, 50 people deep. And the line never went away till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's how we became a wholesale pretzel bakery and a retail pretzel bakery. And that's really the marriage. That was the special sauce that got us going.
That's one of the most incredible origin stories I've ever heard, that you took ninth grade off to, I mean, and what a story of entrepreneurialism. I mean, it's a great age to learn that. However, I don't know, skipping a year in school. Yeah. Honestly, I'm just surprised it took them so long to realize that you weren't at school. But that's an incredible story. I have to ask, what's the connection between Philadelphia and pretzels? Because, of course, your biggest competitor, Auntie Anne's, is based there in Philly. What is there some history with pretzels?
So the origins is the Germans came in through Philadelphia, through the ports of Philadelphia, and that's where a lot of Germans migrated. Pretzels are originally from Germany. That's sort of the origin, and it kind of grew there. Philly pretzels is a little unique, though, than what you would see at like the mall-based pretzels, those heart-shaped pretzels. They call them Bavarian pretzels. Ours are, they call them paperclip pretzels. So back in the day, a pretzel bakery in Philadelphia had too many orders one day, and they smushed the pretzels together, as you could picture like an accordion, and they could get more pretzels in the oven. And that's where the Philly style pretzel has come about. So that the taste and texture is very similar to a German Bavarian pretzel, but the look is the look of a paper clip. And that's what's really unique about Philly pretzels.
I gotcha. Okay, that's good to know. So then explain the Philly Pretzel Factory experience, because again, that big competitor of yours, to your point, very much in malls and non-traditional locations, kind of that you're walking by, you smell it, you're like, oh yeah, I want one of those for a snack. What's the Philly Pretzel Factory experience?
Yeah, so we're more standalone or inline shopping centers. We've done some, train stations, airports, things like that, but it's not really exactly what we always do. It's more of these inline standalones. And the experience is, Auntie Anne's, great product. It's just a completely different product than us. Typically, people get one of those pretzels, maybe even they share it. Philly Pretzel Factory is designed to be like a wholesale pretzel bakery. You could get one pretzel if you want, but the majority of people, it's very common to be standing there watching people order 50 pretzels, 100 pretzels, 300 pretzels is not unusual. We'll have orders for thousands of pretzels by one customer to treat an office, or we get a lot of sales reps coming in and get pretzels, kind of like they would do with donuts, get a couple dozen donuts. They'll get pretzels and bring them to the office. Pretzels, especially in the Philadelphia region, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, it's just a way of life. Culturally, it's people eat them in the morning, they eat them at lunch, they eat them at dinner time. So it's just that type of product.
Yeah, tell me about that experience, because again, if you look at the burger category, the pizza category, sandwiches, they all fall into a very traditional day part structure, right? You want a pizza for dinner on Friday night, you want a sandwich for lunch, or whatever. But with pretzels, especially for something that people view as less of an entree and more as a side or a snack, it really is all over the map. So what does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, day parts it depends on the region too. In Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York, they're used to eating pretzels for breakfast. That's just culturally. Outside the market, we find it later day parts do better. The after school snack, the evening snack, it sort of shifts. Lunch is big for us. We do a bunch of pretzel hot dogs, pretzel sausages. We really are expanding into that category. And then something that's really a big part of our business that started, 15, 20 years ago, that changed everything, was we came out with a pretzel party tray. So it's bite-sized nuggets. We call them ribbits to play off the factory theme. And these trays have just been every birthday party, graduation party. They're there. They hold up well. They're non-committal because they're so small and bite-sized. And then we have so many different dips that you basically take this pretzel and you dip it in whatever makes you cinnamon, sugar, a white icing, a chocolate fudge brownie, or the various mustards and cheeses. So that really makes it unique, but it really has done incredible at those type of venues.
Am I correct to say you guys have a location at the Philly airport?
Yes, we do. Yep.
Okay. So I have to tell you, I took my family to it because we flew through Philly a few months ago and we were starving, and my kids love pretzels. Now, don't get me wrong. I also love pretzels, but my kids, I mean, anytime we go, like we went to a soccer game recently, pretzels. We go to anything where there are pretzels, they've got to get pretzels. And so we're at the Philadelphia airport. We see Philly Pretzel Factory, and we got way more pretzels than we could handle, but our eyes are bigger than our stomach, and blown away. By the way, they were so impressed. They loved those pretzels. We ate almost all of them. But why I set this up for you is to ask you about demographic, because I think everybody does love pretzels for the most part. But what do you tend to find as far as your core demographic? Does it skew younger?
The people eating them, it skews younger, right? The people eating them, the people purchasing them. We sort of target, females from 34 to 54-year-old females if we had to do the advertising marketing. The reason being is they control the birthday parties, the celebration parties. So now we have everybody coming. I always say 98% of the population either love pretzels or like pretzels. It's, that triple threat of food. I always think pizza is one of those things everybody either loves or likes. Ice cream, pretzels are in that category where either people love them or like them. Very few would spit it out and go, oh, I don't like that product. We don't seem to have that. So our net is very wide, but we also know who's purchasing the pretzels. We have the app data. So we know that people who are the decision makers in the household, that's who we specifically target. Because although we love people coming in just getting 3 or 5 pretzels or 1 pretzel, we love the fact that people get pretzel trays and hundreds of pretzels for the soccer tournament or the PTO group at school, things like that, fundraisers.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's handheld, dippable, that you can get mass quantities of it, I mean, it really makes it such a perfect catering thing. And catering's taken off right now. I mean, everybody's looking for those incremental sales opportunities, those new channels to get product out, especially today when things are so rocky from an economic standpoint, inflation, et cetera. So, I mean, are you guys really leaning into catering as being that opportunity to push Philly Pretzel Factory out there? Yeah,
well, the party tray itself is 25% of our overall sales system-wide. Yeah, so some stores could have as much as 50% of their sales directly related to that, which is a huge amount of business because we're sort of a B2B business. We have a lot of deliveries to schools and hospitals and venues like that. Then we have the retail part. So we have a merge. It's unusual to have different categories of business like we do, that B2B, the catering aspect of it, and then the person just walking in and getting 1 or 3 pretzels, which doesn't happen a lot, to be honest, right? In the train stations or maybe even in the airport, but most of our stores, people, very common, 10 pretzels, 20 pretzels is the norm.
Okay, that leads us into talking about marketing, which is why I really wanted to talk to you. Coming up here in a few days from when this publishes is National Pretzel Day. We'll get into your plans for celebrating. But what I want to talk about first is marketing that catering opportunity, the party tray, because again, if my kid's having a birthday party coming up, and let's say I'm not familiar with Philly Pretzel Factory, and it's new to my community or something, how do you get in front of that person? How are you getting in front of the schools, the businesses, the organizations to get them to know, hey, this is a great opportunity for a group of your size?
I know it might sound old, people say it all the time, but that grassroots marketing, the product for us sells itself. It doesn't cost a fortune to make pretzels. So the nice part is we could go in and drop off pretzels samples to schools, in bulk, and say, hey, try them out, see how it works for you. And usually that does the trick. We don't have to do a ton of, listen, all marketing works, but nothing like dropping off the product, dropping off a party tray. It does wonders. And the reality is a lot of the salespeople that come in for us that are pharmaceutical reps or medical device reps, they go bring these pretzels to doctors' offices. Well, they help us in a marketing aspect as well, because maybe someone's never had the product. Oh, this would be great for my son's birthday party or my daughter's birthday party. So it kind of all works hand in hand, but there's nothing like dropping off the product and people having this hot, fresh pretzel. That's a big part of it. We make these pretzels right out of the oven. They're coming out. So, there's different batches, but typically you're getting a warm or hot pretzel when you come in our stores.
I say this all the time, but I do not know why I record these around lunchtime because goodness gracious, I could go for a pretzel right now. I'm going to follow up later today with a pretzel, but unfortunately, I don't think you're in Columbus yet. Are you guys have anything in Columbus where I am?
Ohio?
Yeah.
Not in Columbus, no. Hopefully.
Okay.
Soon.
Well, let's put a pin in that because
Centerville is probably the closest.
okay, it's a bit of a hike. That's about an hour drive. I might not do that, but someday I trust that you'll get here. But also to that point, I think once people discover something like a great pretzel, again, I mentioned your biggest competitor earlier, but by and large, there's not a ton of pretzel players out there. So what I would imagine is you must have a lot of loyalty because people who love your product, again, they're going to get it for the kid's birthday party or, they have it in their office or whatever. You must have a lot of repeat customers because people fall in love with the product. Do you guys have a loyalty program to take advantage of that?
We do have a loyalty program, to reward the customers that keep coming back. And you're right. We're kind of like a coffee shop, if you will. Every day they come in, get 5 pretzels and their drink or their soda, or that could be their lunch for the day. Beautiful thing about our pretzels, even though they might not be hot all day, you could put them on your desk and munch on them throughout the day. And it's kind of one of those things, keep grabbing it. Even at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the product's going to be great, still fresh. It doesn't last to the next day, but it'll be fresh all day long. But we do have a real loyalty following. And what's great about that is people travel, especially when we open up a new store. The Philadelphians and New Jersey transplants, if it's an outer market store, they'll travel an hour, hour and a half. That's not unusual. But what they do is they show people the product and why to buy the product. When we go to new markets, when we got to Ohio, people used to look at the menu. We have pretzels, 50 pretzels for, a certain price, 100 pretzels. And they go, who would ever buy 100 pretzels? Because they're so used to the mall-based pretzel, but 100 pretzels is not out of the norm for us, especially if you think about little leagues and sporting events. The pricing is designed, more you buy, the better it gets. So very common to see 100 pretzels at our stores for somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 to $60. Pricing changes at various locations. But what's nice about that, 50, 60 cents a unit, per pretzel, someone could buy that and resell it. So it's a great fundraiser, and that's a big part of the business for us.
Yeah, honestly, that's why I think a lot of these chicken tender brands are doing so well is because they're small products that are handheld and little fingers just grab them really quick, right? And that's why the birthday parties, I swear, I see chicken tender brands all the time. One in particular, you can guess who it is. We're not here to talk about them. I want to talk about National Pretzel Day, which is coming up. This must be kind of a Super Bowl opportunity for you. What do you guys do to really promote National Pretzel Day?
Yeah, National Pretzel Day, April 26th every year. We give away free pretzels at all the stores, right? So come in, just get a free pretzel. But the amazing part about that day over the years, it's become one of our best sales days of the year, which is weird. You're giving it away for free and people come in. But when you do it graciously and people come in and you give them a free pretzel, if they've never been there before and they look at the menu price and go, oh my God, what a value. Give me 30 of them, give me 50 of them. I'll bring them back to the office. It really is a celebration. It's a thank you to the loyal customers, but it also introduces the product to so many new customers. Huge day for us. We always get excited about it. This year is going to be a little unique. It's on a Saturday. Obviously, it doesn't happen too often. So it even expands the opportunity for a lot of people to come. Sometimes when it's a Tuesday or Wednesday, people are in the office. Sometimes tougher to get out. But the April 26th falls on Saturday this year. So I think we're going to have a monster day.
Almost like an open house. Like, hey, everybody, throw open the doors. Come on in. Come check us out.
We'll have buses from retirement communities. They'll literally drive a school bus up and, at least in most of those cases, we won't make everybody get off the bus. We'll bring the pretzels onto the bus and treat everybody. But that's the type of celebration that most of our stores, some of them have DJs and face painting, and they really embrace it. But it's amazing the goodwill it reaches out to the community.
I love that white glove service coming up onto the bus with from the nursing homes, giving them their pretzels. I've talked to other brands before about these national food holidays, and it's easy to be kind of like, sort of cynical toward them because every day there's something. But truly, there are people out there paying very close attention to what these days are. And every community in America has something going on with one of these brands. And so is kind of one of those days, again, to sort of shout to the rooftops, hey, we're here, come on in and experience it. And I think to your point, that sort of grassroots, if you taste it, you will understand why you need to come here. So I imagine from a marketing perspective, you guys must not have a huge marketing spend in general between National Pretzel Day with, the party packs that you guys have. You probably don't have to put too much into getting the word out there for people to understand who you are.
No, a lot of those national media stories or the media will help us with the PR because they're looking at National Pretzel Day. So it does help us from that standpoint. But we do put dollars behind it. We want to make people aware of it because, spring is our best time of the year, May and June, graduations, parties, and communion parties. So we're really pumped up. So it gets people sometimes may forget about us, right? They don't come on a daily basis like those loyalty ones, but maybe they come on the holidays, New Year's Eve or Super Bowl Sunday. Well, that's been 2 months now. So it gives them an opportunity to come back, reintroduce the product, remind them, got a lot of parties coming up. And we know that day we'll get orders for, May and June because people will be in the stores and say, oh, let me put an order in while I'm here.
Kind of amazing. You almost couldn't have planned the timing of National Pretzel Day better than what you did.
It wasn't our doing, but it's worked out really, really well for us. Yeah.
That's great. What's the role in social media in all this? Obviously, everybody knows social media is, what you've got to focus on getting the message out, especially with your influencers and all that. Do you guys lean into social media as a way to get the word out?
Yeah, influencers we've used a lot of social media. We are not big on, we do some radio, some billboards and stuff, but as a whole, we spend the majority of our budget on social media. I mean, we believe in it. We love that we could target an audience. We could reach so many people, and everybody's got an opinion on social media, but it's done wonders for us. And the fact that we could target in on our end user has been great for us. And the franchisees, some of them do a wonderful job of really having their own pages to get great followings. And everybody's got their own uniqueness about how they tell the story, and they have their own personal story, right? We're a franchise, we're a chain, but each store is individually owned and operated. So they have their own store and story, why they got into this business, how it's affected them. And there's always a uniqueness to it. And it's great for them to get that story out on social media as well.
Yeah, I imagine the core demographic, women 35 to 55 that you mentioned. I mean, if I think of my own wife who's in that demographic, she follows all these other moms who are sharing local business stories and, hey, go to this, they're doing this on this day. We follow the advice a lot of those people because, again, it's the best way to give value, the best way to get deals. And a lot of times it's like, I never heard of that, but I trust this person who's told me about it because she's a fellow mom. So we're going to go check it out.
Very powerful. I think some people have fought it for a long time, but there's just such a power. And it's not a commercial. When somebody gives an endorsement on something like that, and I know there's influencers as well, but when someone gives it, it's definitely more powerful than just an ad. I think the messaging comes across that way, especially for a brand like ours, which we have that loyal following.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I imagine too, you guys are growing, so bear the lead here, but you guys have 170 locations, you're franchised, you're all around the East Coast. Tell me a bit about your growth strategy and how that's going for you.
Yeah, we have 22 stores under development right now or some through the construction process. So they'll be open, hopefully all 22 this year. Big push right now. We're in Florida, opening a bunch up down in Florida, which we're real excited about. So that's a real opportunity. Midwest is another target area for us that we're sort of expanding in, that St. Louis market, Chicago, really trying to grow in those areas. So, and get the message out because, again, a lot of people know us, but there's a lot of people who don't in those markets. And, we're so unique. We're not what they all think. They think we're the mall-based pretzel place. And it's a completely different product, completely different experience coming in the stores. These stores sell thousands of pretzels. They're all hand twisted. We have this pretzel machine in the store. It doesn't make the pretzel, it just makes a pretzel rope, and we hand twist those. So in the stores, and most of the time, come in the store, you get to see that. Unique little interesting fact is, the average person for us that twists pretzels twists 1,000 pretzels an hour. People are always blown away by that. So that's just could be an average twister. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's incredible. Well, the white space for you guys must be huge because, again, you have one major competitor and for the most part, I guess, maybe some regional competitors. So the franchisees must be really banging down your door because in their community, they probably don't have a pretzel brand quite like you. So how do you tap into that demand with franchisees?
Yeah, the majority of our people purchase our franchises, even outer market stores, is people from Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York that know the product and want to bring it. They see an opportunity because there is no pretzel stores in their community. They see an opportunity to bring it there. And that's the exciting part for it. Now there is an uphill battle because not everybody knows it. But the other part is, like you said, there's a lot of white space. So there's nobody doing what we're doing really. So from a competitive standpoint, we have a huge advantage. But we look at competition out there as everybody, right? So Dunkin' Donuts sells donuts. We don't sell donuts, but you could go to a celebration, a party, bring a couple dozen donuts, or you have an option to bring pretzels. Where our advantage, I think, is the health aspect of it, right? So just the no fat, no cholesterol type thing. pretzels have that quality about them. So, and everybody can sort of eat them. There's not a lot of people are limited because of different allergies or something like that.
I'm glad you pointed that out because, we're following very closely, of course, the boom in these drive-through coffee brands that's gone on for the last couple of years. And, I think that's become so popular is because people look for the late morning and mid-afternoon indulgence. And these coffee beverages are serving that indulgence, but they're really high in sugar and calories. And so it seems like an untapped opportunity here to have something maybe a little bit more health oriented to that snack customer, people on the go, because clearly there's a demand for these indulgences. Do you see that same opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, we just think it's a differentiator from other competitors, right? That's really the difference. People sometimes look at the carbs, and there's 14 grams of protein in a pretzel in one of our pretzels. But we're not trying to advertise this as, broccoli, right? Where it's not complete health. We're not trying to be super extreme that way, but we want people to be aware, from all the alternatives. I have 2 teenage boys and 2 stepchildren. Some of the stuff they eat, brownies and ice cream, pretzels are one of the healthier things that they're going to eat on a daily basis. So we definitely want to tap into that and focus on that.
So thinking too about the opportunity with Philly Pretzel Factory, I imagine your operation is relatively simple because when your product is so zoned in on pretzels, and you mentioned the sausage and some other things you've got going on, but it's not a very complex menu as I understand it. So do you find also demand in franchising because of the fact that you have a relatively simple operation, yet potential for big sales?
Everybody who comes in, we have discovery days all the time. Number one reason they say they're there is the simplicity of the operation, right? We probably all, and especially you, know a ton of people in the restaurant business, and some of them, and it might be their own fault, but they're married to that restaurant, right? They're prisoners in the restaurant, never get a day off, never get a weekend off. And we've been real cognitive of that because it's easy to fall victim of adding too many items, right? We know our sweet spot. We know what we want to do. We want to add items that move the needle, right? So we're not just going to be pretzels. We're going to change and adapt as time goes on. But we also don't want to have this extensive menu that's complicated. It complicates for the employees to train them, but it also, I believe, complicates to the consumer, right? Too many choices is overwhelming. I see that myself all the time. I remember years ago, I was looking for carpet and I went to the store to get carpet. I went to Home Depot and the guy he starts talking to me about padding, right? There was like 30 different paddings. Then he got into, texture. And then by the time he got the color, my head was blown. I go, let me just go get something to eat. I didn't want to make any decision because I felt like I was going to make the wrong decision, right? So I just kicked the can down the road. I think there's something nice about a restaurant when it's a very simple menu. You know why you go there, do what you do really well. I think that's what we do. So that's something we hear of franchisees. And the reason we did that was me and my partner. I have a partner who started, my college roommate, Len. He got into this business for mainly one reason. He got into this for quality of life, right? Originally, I told him he was going to work from 4 a.m. till 9 a.m. He could golf all day. Turns out that wasn't the case, but that was the original reason. My case, I wanted to grow. I really wanted to grow the business. But the one thing we had in common is we could not be in one store all day long, right? We couldn't do that. So we had to have a simple model. And maybe that's sacrificing sometimes by keeping it that simple, but there is something about simplicity and for us to grow. And I know like the franchisees always tell me is, I love that you guys have kept it simple.
It keeps the costs down, which is very, very important today. All right, Dan, last question for you. What is next for Philly Pretzel Factory?
Well, we plan to expand, as I told you, those 2 markets there. Some of our stores it goes against a little bit what I'm going to say here is we have some expansion into the ice cream business. We're putting ice cream in some stores, giving it a trial basis. We feel like it stretches the day parts. We're morning, lunch, late afternoon. As you may know, ice cream, more of an evening item. That stores that want to extend their day parts, as you know, everything goes up, rents go up, things like that. So if there's an opportunity to extend the day parts, and nothing goes like pretzels, ice cream. We're testing out these pretzel sundaes right now, and they have, our pretzel rivet, that pretzel nugget in there. So instead of cherry on top, you're kind of getting the pretzel. It all ties back to pretzels. So that's a real exciting thing. And then we are just launching this coming 2 weeks. We have a test market, 17 stores. We're doing these pretzel poppers. So we're doing, Philadelphia iconic for cheesesteak, right? Cheesesteak So we're putting cheesesteak and pretzel in these bite-sized options. And we're also doing a buffalo chicken one. And we really love it because so many people are relying on us for that bite-sized catering option. Well, this really leans right into that as well, to have these bite-sized, non-committal, 2-inch, 3-inch pieces that they could have. And, granted, we might have 5 or 6 of them, so it's a whole meal, but at least you don't commit to that. You just have one and they're so good, you're going to go back again. So we're real excited about both of those things coming very near future.
Very exciting to watch. Good luck to you and all that. And certainly good luck on National Pretzel Day coming up. Dan DiZio, the co-founder and CEO of Philly Pretzel Factory. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
That was my interview with Philly Pretzel Factory co-founder Dan DiZio. So what should you learn from this interview? Here are my 5 takeaways. My first takeaway is that you should never doubt your entrepreneurial instincts. I love the story of how Dan got into the pretzel business when he was 11 years old and how he basically missed all of 9th grade because he was busy selling pretzels. That is an entrepreneur to a T. This is what I want my kids to be. Maybe not skip 9th grade, of course, or any school year that is, but that entrepreneurial bug, when you see that in kids, that should be fostered. But more importantly, Dan, when he went a different direction, when he got out of school, he realized, no, I'm good at selling pretzels. I am an entrepreneur. And he went back to selling pretzels and in 1998 launched Philly Pretzel Factory. This is a great reminder for everybody. If you have a dream to start a business, if you feel like you're an entrepreneur, if you're not happy with where you are and you want to go start your own thing, go do it. You've got the entrepreneurial bug. You may have a massive success on your hands, and you will never know if you don't try. My second takeaway is that there is incredible power in bulk orders. We've talked about this a fair amount on the podcast. We're going to keep talking about it. Well, let's put it through the frame of catering. Catering is becoming more and more popular today. It's great incremental sales opportunity, a new channel for you to get your food out there. What Philly Pretzel Factory is doing isn't necessarily catering, but these party trays are essentially that. These are bulk orders that are going out into the community. Now, pretzels, snacks like a pretzel, this is a little bit of an unfair advantage for Philly Pretzel Factory, but maybe there's an application with your own brand. What is that bite-sized food that you can serve in bulk orders and take it out into, go to birthday parties, go to churches, go to schools, fundraisers, sports, whatever it is. If you can package your food in a bulk order, whether it's catering or not, and then really promote that to people as an important part of their next event, their next party activity, whatever, that is a powerful marketing opportunity for your brand. Why? Well, because of course, if you are serving at, let's say, a soccer game, and there's hundreds of parents there to watch their kids play soccer, and somebody's brought a couple party trays of pretzels, you better believe there are dozens of new customers discovering those pretzels for the first time, discovering Philly Pretzel Factory for the first time. Then they go home and say, I want to get a party tray for my birthday party, my kid's birthday party coming up. And that's what they do. And it really starts to snowball from there. This is just a really important point to drill in on because Dan said that Philly Pretzel Factory, 25% of their sales are these party trays, and up to 50% in certain locations are the same. He says that, he compares them more to a wholesale provider. He said they're like a B2B business because of how many pretzels, bulk order of pretzels, are getting served at other organizations and events. And I think that this is an opportunity not just for the snack concepts, not just for treat concepts, not just for anybody with, bite-sized, shareable kind of food like this. It is applicable to anybody who's looking for a new sales channel. If you want incremental sales, you want to get out into the community, think about how you can package your product in a bulk order and send it out the door to these events so that you can do marketing and also just get in front of new potential customers who may come in your doors. My third takeaway is that there's no better marketing than free food. Well, of course, those party trays that are going out to the events, somebody's getting those pretzels for free, right? And they're falling in love and coming in to check it out. But Dan was also pointing out, this product speaks for itself, and they want to take free pretzels out into the community to convince people. We've talked to a few other brands that have this method. I was also reminded during the interview of Texas Roadhouse. This is a very famous thing that they do where they take their very famous rolls out into the community. And once people taste them and they get to know that representative of the brand, they understand, yes, there's a new location near me. they're probably going to come check you out. And if they fell in love with the product, they're especially more so inclined to do that. How can you get your product into people's mouths for free and convince them to come back and give it a try, not for free? That is a very age-old but very important marketing strategy that is crucial to winning over new fans. My fourth takeaway is that you shouldn't miss the marketing opportunity that is National Food Holidays. A few months ago, we spoke with Wayback Burger's Pat Conlon about this, and we talked about the fact that they really put a lot of their marketing effort into the national food holidays like National Cheeseburger Day in order to appeal to customers. The timing of this interview is fortuitous. I talked to Dan just a few days before National Pretzel Day. That's coming up on April 26th. And this is like a Super Bowl for them. They're really gearing up for a massive day. It's on a Saturday this year, which is really advantageous. And as he pointed out, springtime with all the graduation parties and other events going on is their best time of the year. So it worked out really well that they can introduce the product to new customers right at the time that they need to buy party trays for graduation parties. But even if it was timed at a different time of year, I think Dan would still lean into this National Pretzel Day because these are very natural opportunities to get the attention of the customer. A lot of consumers pay attention to these things. They're watching social media for deals, whatever national whatever day it is. They're looking around, what are the deals? And if you are trying to introduce your restaurant to your local community, this is a very natural opportunity to do it. No matter if you're a pizza chain, a sandwich chain, a burger chain, a coffee chain, there's always going to be the pizza day, sandwich day, coffee day. Follow those holidays. Know which days to really lean in with your marketing efforts. Get free product to people. Maybe a loss leader, give away lots of product. The point is the spotlight is shining on you in that moment. Don't miss out on that opportunity. My fifth and final takeaway is that franchisees today want operational simplicity. Of course, everybody wants operational simplicity. But for a concept like Philly Pretzel Factory, which is very simple product, very simple preparation methods, very simple marketing even, everything's pretty straightforward. At the end of the day, it's about a great product and making sure that product gets into the hand of new and potential customers. If that is simple, franchisees are going to flock to your brand because they don't want lots of choices. They don't want lots of complexities. They don't want to be overwhelmed. They want it to be simple and to be able to provide them with the lifestyle they're looking for. Those are all my takeaways for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please remember to subscribe to Takeaway wherever you listen to podcasts and leave your feedback. You can also email me at sam.oches@informa.com. Thanks again and talk to you next week. Nation's Restaurant News is launching the 2025 Menu Masters Collaboration video series, and this season is our most exciting yet. Join us behind the scenes as the 2025 Menu Masters award-winning chefs from Chili's Grill & Bar, Wendy's, True Food Kitchen, Fuzzy's Taco Shop, Iron Hill Brewery and Restaurant, and digital innovator Alexandra Lourdes team up with top students from Johnson & Wales University for a live culinary collaboration. Their goal is to create a unique menu to be served only at the Menu Masters celebration, sponsored by Ventura Foods on May 17th in Chicago. Make sure you subscribe now to the Menu Masters YouTube channel and don't miss an episode. For more info on the Menu Masters celebration, visit menumasters.com.